Hello and welcome back to Irons United, West Ham's YouTube channel. How you doing? Yes, tonight we are joined by the real West Ham fans action group. We have Andy Swallow and Mick Morgan, and of course we have Still. So Andy and Mick, how you doing? You's both okay?
All good, mate. Thank you. All good.
Yeah. Thanks for coming on to the Irons United YouTube channel. Obviously, we know there's a big revolution is coming. We see your poster, and as you can see, guys, you can see the poster in the bottom corner of our screen. So for anyone that doesn't really know, and I reckon most of them will know, if I can pass this one over to you, Andy, can you give me a quick rundown, just for anyone that's not aware of what the group stands for?
Yeah, I think we started about 5 months now. The idea was to try and get some dialogue with the board, just getting some points across, i.e., disabled, trying to get them to the ground better, or away from the ground better, stewarding, historic, getting our badge back, trying to make the stadium fit for purpose, really. And then it's built momentum now. I think we've lost a lot of faith in the board. The transfers have shown probably their intent. And probably Sullivan's outburst, Wigan didn't go down too well. And I suppose really we're just trying to get getting the club back to feeling at home again. Feeling like our football team, feeling like something that we can be proud of.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, what we've done, guys, is we've actually put a lot of these questions out to our subscribers, our followers on Twitter, on Facebook, and they've come up with a bunch of questions. So we'll just get straight in with it, if that's all right, guys.
Yeah, crack away.
And it's up to yourselves, Mick or Andy. You can decide who wants to answer the question. So one of the questions that came up was, you're called the Real West Ham Fans Action Group. There's quite a significance on the word real. In yours or the group's opinion, what makes a real West Ham fan?
For me, when we say real West Ham fans, it's for real West Ham fans that basically care about the club. And how I feel we're all real West Ham fans, but the way that the clubs, I see it, is they've tried to rebrand us and relabel us from 2016 and leaving our history behind. So basically we're all real West Ham fans and we care about the club. So if you care about the club, that makes you a real West Ham fan.
Yeah. Anything on that, Mick?
No, not really. It was a little bit awkward when we first started off using that real West Ham fan because it was, some people were saying, well, how do you work out what a real West Ham fan is? Andy now, that's what it is. It was just a way of saying we're real. Yeah. We are West. We're not just tucked away. We're real West Ham fans.
Yeah. Okay, and what's your reaction then to some of the fans that maybe pick up on that? Is it just a case of maybe don't read into it too much?
Sorry, say that again.
Is it a case of maybe don't read into the word real too much?
Yeah, they did to start with, yeah, without a shadow of a doubt. Yeah, I felt some vibes come back on it, but once you sort of put your point across and you said to people that this is just a way of us expressing ourselves to get this group together. We are real. We are active. We are what we are. We are a group of people that are real. We're not being lied to anymore. Yeah. We're not standing back. That's why we are real West Ham fans.
Yeah. No. Good point.
I think the other thing I've noticed over since we've moved, and probably more since we've moved, there's a lot of new breed of West Ham that are coming that I'm not too sure where they've come from. Whether they're, I don't call them not West Ham fans, but there's a different breed of West Ham fan there now. And all we're saying is, if you care about the club, get with us. And I'm not against anybody who likes the stadium or likes the experience, but there's a lot of us that don't. And I think they should appreciate that, we want changes for the better for the club. Yeah. We're not plastic. We really are West Ham fans.
It's an interesting point there, Andy, because there'll be fans who live abroad. Yeah. Or there'll be fans for one reason or another don't get to go to games on a regular basis. Yeah. And you've just picked up on it, and there are new fans. There are fans who have probably been watching West Ham from afar, and maybe they think that the new stadium is an opportunity for them to start going to the games. And I sort of get. I've been a West Ham fan over 40 years, and I get what you mean about, you know, being a real West Ham fan, but there may be people that might feel just a little bit alienated by that one word.
You know, I do get that. I do get that, but I think when we're trying to make a point to the board and trying to make a point to, you know, people that care, the word real means, you know, that we really do care. Do you know what I mean? And I'm not saying, sometimes I think the fans that come from abroad are madder than us. Because we had no option. They're coming from somewhere, they had a better choice.
And I brushed this subject with someone earlier on today. The way that the railway network has changed and branches out to many different parts of the country, it makes easy access to come back in to Stratford. Where before, when you was at the bowling and you was young, you had to make your way into the bowling on tight network. Well, nowadays everything's got wider. It's easier to come in. So we're attracting what Andy was saying there. It's an hard word. It is the new breed of supporter. I crossed the bridge last week. I didn't want to go in, and I was walking through people. I could have been walking through the West End. You know, there
was through the shopping centre,
suited and booted, shirts and it was just a completely different lot that you would have seen down Green Street.
Yeah, and I mean, for me personally, I live in Scotland and I've travelled down for years since I've been a kid, and I mean, obviously I'm not on my doorstep, but it's been on my dad's doorstep for years, so I've got the understanding of the kind of history of the club and what's around it. And yeah, I see the changes.
You had to make your way to the bowling, didn't you? You had to make your way there. You had different network, like underground, one line in the district line. You had to put yourself out to get there. Well, nowadays you don't really have to put yourself out. You just get to your local train station and it all descends into Stratford.
Yeah. The other thought I had was at Upton Park we probably had 30,000 regulars, and now we've probably got another 30,000 that are not regulars but getting a better view because they couldn't get tickets at Upton Park. Yeah, if that makes sense. All of a sudden you've got a load of people that they accept the view they've got because it's better than not having a view, if that makes sense. Yeah,
I think that. Sorry, mate.
Andy, it's not a question that was put to us, but just having a thought. Do you think that this group, the Real West Ham Fans Action Group, is appealing to those fans who maybe haven't got that sort of tradition of travelling down, like you said, Mick, travelling down on a weekly basis?
So you've had to win them over as admin in control of the Real West Ham Action Group. I can see things changing within the last 2 weeks where more of the groups are starting to communicate with each other, and the word is spreading that slowly but surely strong groups that have been going longer than us have slowly come across to the thought of the Real West Ham Action Group, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. And I think that leads me on to the next question, I suppose, because as you're aware, there's a lot of groups, whether they're not online or they are online, and you have got a lot of backing between a lot of those groups. What is it that makes this different? What is it that makes this different?
I think for the first time, I think people believe they've got a voice that actually will do something. And I don't think necessarily means that we'd get change. I think it actually means we will go out to try and make change. And I think West Ham's board are actually quite wary of us. So the fact is, if we say we're going to march, we'll march. Now I think over the period, a lot of these groups have been put together by the board, who are really just go up, have a little moan, and then they get swept under the carpet. And I think they're finally, all of us, just purely timing has been, you know, if we'd have won, would we be having a march if we was like third in the league? Well, the answer probably is no. Do you know what I mean? But the timing is right. That you know, the transfer window was a no-go. The experience over there is still a no-go. And I think we've lost faith. And I think not only have we lost faith, all the groups can look to us and say, well, look, if you are an action group, we're with you.
Mick, were you going to make a point there?
Yeah, Tom. Well, when we were growing up over there, we always had people that we looked up to, and we learned from them how to conduct ourselves and how to be respectful to people, and we learnt of older people. Like now, what I'm trying to say is that if it wasn't me and Andy, it would be your Bills and your Teds and your Bunts. But it's got to a time in life when now me and Andy and a few others, we're sort of the older boys now, if you know what I mean. We're sort of the older ones now, and our older ones that we looked up to, they haven't got the time, or they're not very well, or they've got different agendas, and someone needed to step up to the plate, and it was spoke about in different groups, and eventually someone had to do it, and like Andy's good at organising. I suppose now I've turned out to be probably good at admin, but at the end of the day, you needed people to do it, and lots of people were good just with the mouth, but weren't actually doing anything. Well, now we've done something in the space of 8 weeks. We've now got 15,000 members. I think that's I think that on its own is powerful.
I can't disagree with you there at all, guys, because I've been going on so long about my opinions on the board, and I suppose my biggest question was when all these meetings were taking place, what was actually physically happening? What was the next level, the next step?
Yeah.
So to see something, I suppose, as a next step is as a sign of action. Hence the reason it's in your name, So yeah. So Stell, I think you've got the next question, don't you, Mick?
Yeah, well, it sort of leads on to you guys have just said it. The group's gathered quite a lot of momentum, and you've got the march coming up on the 10th of March. And we can see, I go online and I can see how much support you're getting from a vast range of communities and other West Ham groups. But there's 2 things I want to ask about the march itself. What do you guys personally hope for? What do you expect and hope for on a personal level? And what do you think is going to be a realistic outcome from the march? So there's your hopes, and then there's what you think the board may offer.
Well, first of all, if we don't do anything, we're going to get shafted big time, right? But from the march itself, we want a peaceful demonstration. It's going to show from every walk of life over at Upton Park, nans, granddads, children, mothers and fathers. We want a peaceful demonstration. What do we want at the end of it? What do we want at the end of it?
You asking that question,
we would like to see this ball walk away, like all of our members. Everyone would like to see this ball walk away, because the way I see it, we are fed up being sold lies. We from 2016, after the captain done a video, he fell for the lies, and he's one of us. He believed that we were going to be promised a stadium for football, which we haven't been. He believed that we were going to have a squad good enough and strong enough in depth to compete for major honours. Now, I heard it on TalkSport earlier on today. We're not pot hunters, as you know. We're just working class people who expect and hear the truth daily, and we're not hearing the truth. I don't know what will be the outcome with them, but at the end of the day, there's people out there that want to come into the club, like Red Bull. They want to come into the club, or the American chick, he wants to come into the club. Hopefully, we can make a point and say to him, "Look, jog on. We've had enough of you." You can see the fan base has had enough of you. 49 groups that want to come under one banner. We've had enough of them. It's just, we feel exactly the same as what you probably do, but we just want to see the back of them. Just see you later. Pack off and go down to Cardiff where you want to play, or where you want to be. Yeah. He's a Cardiff supporter. See you later.
Given that they own the club, unfortunately, given that they own it. The chances of them walking away is going to be quite remote until they're ready to do that.
I think it's going to be very slim, and I know you've probably got different opinions within the group. Mickey takes quite an hardline stance, and I dare say that in each group you're going to have certain views. As I was asked, in an ideal world, I suppose we'd all like them to walk away, we wouldn't all, because you know they've got a lot of backers as well. We've got, you know, we mustn't be fooled that they haven't got a lot of backers. They have. You know, we'd like them to walk away and sell the club to somebody who wants to take it to the next stage. But I think the out of this marches, it'd be good to let them show that there is people prepared to stand up to them. And then if we pull off 10, 15, 20,000, they may turn around and say, well, come on then, let's sit around the table and what do you want? And then I think that's when we have to now own what we want. And I think that's important. We've got a meeting this Saturday with the groups to say, you know, if we get around the table, what do we want? And I think that's important. You know, what are we marching for? Yeah, we can march, get rid of the boards. But as you're saying, realistically, they own it. It's probably worth 650 million to them. I know that's a figure that's been thrown around that Red Bull offered and they didn't accept it. And we're going against people that are very shrewd business people. So for me, it's probably to sit around the table and get a stadium that's fit for purpose.
Yeah, I've got to say, I'm hoping that this march will do just that. At least get them to talk.
Yeah.
But not talk bullshit. Talk straight. And
exactly
talk about, you know, talk about what's good for the club as a whole. You know, Ant and I and the other guys on Irons United, we're sort of chatting away and what we'd like to see.
Yeah.
And we'd like to see there be some proper dialogue to engage with the fans. You know, and we were chatting about how things are done in, say, Germany. Some of the clubs in Germany, that are the way they're run. You know, they're run with a fan base.
They're run with the fans.
With the fans. You know.
As well.
We don't think for a minute that this lot are going to give fans that level of entitlement in West Ham, but at least talk sense. You know.
But do you know what? I always wonder whether they set up a group. You know, I'm not knocking them because I don't know a lot about them, but they set up a sort of group called WUSA, didn't they? West Ham United Independent Supporters Association or something.
Oh, they set that up, did they?
I think they set it up with the supporters. And
well, that's really interesting because
I might stand back and say they didn't, but I'm pretty much that it was to be the voice of the fans. Because I know when I went there a year ago, and I had this about the flags and the getting rid of that, you know, making it claret around the edges instead of green. And they were just about setting up this supporters club, this independent West Ham United thing. And everything they do with West Ham, they do it with no fault. You know, as much as they don't like the hardline West Ham, we've got a place there, like you have, like people who've got fan base. And I do think that if we got a committee together, I do think they would listen to us. Personally, that's my opinion. I think they would be prepared to listen to us and have a Germany Lazio style where they would listen to the fans. But that's only my opinion. Yeah.
So I guess that's got to be one of the ultimate aims then. To have, you know, to have some sort of input into the club. We don't want to run the club. We're not talking about, but we're talking about fans actually having some proper say. Which I
agree. It'd be nice to say, you know, if we said, you know, change this and we give a good enough reason that it would get changed other than just wash the side, if that made sense.
Yeah.
But the problem is, after everything we've seen recently, could you trust them? That's the problem. They need to earn our trust.
They do.
And they you know what? To do what, and
they need to earn our trust.
I'll give you the word the trust. Okay, there's a guy that's just come into me 45 minutes ago. As we all know, he's been carrying a flag, and the ball don't like the flag. They've offered to give him his dough back and tell him to go away. You know, how do you get trust? How do you get trust out of people treating a fan like that? You know,
is that a question to you or a question to?
That's what I mean. And you know, that was 45 minutes ago. We've got the email. We've got the email. We got the email, and it's come from the lady herself, and it states that we're going to refund you the money for your season tickets, and we don't want to see you anymore. Thank you. Now,
there's no ifs or buts about it, though, guys, and we all know that the trust issue is gone, and it's the same in any walk of life, business, your family, your friends, anything. The minute you break that trust, it's
when we left home and we went to this new stadium, it seems like we left everything behind. If we hadn't addressed the memorial, it would have been overgrown. You wouldn't have been able to see anybody in there. So this action group, first of all, when it formed, that was a point that we wanted to get across to this board, that you've left everything. You don't care about anybody. Yeah. You know, it doesn't matter. I've got 5 points in front of me, and I stand by these 5 points all the time. The way that the disabled are treated, it's shocking. And they're fans. Yeah. They're fans. They're not getting in their Rolls Royce going home. They're getting in a little bus at the bottom of a lift and sitting there for 15, 20 minutes while the fan base goes. You know, there's so much wrong, and it needs dialogue between all these groups and not their mouthpieces. It needs them to sit down at the table with us, not the people who work for them. It needs them to sit down at the table and talk to us.
And I think we discussed this recently, Stell, when you think back to the time that you went into Stratford to look for your new season ticket at the new stadium, because that is, if you ultimately think about that day that you sat in that seat, you watched that video, and then you were told to come in and look at this experience, you couldn't help but fall for absolutely everything.
The way the video was shot.
Fell for it, hook, line and sinker.
And the first day you walked into that stadium, you couldn't help but feel you were walking into a construction site. And you still do, and you can't help but have that feeling.
Going back to one of our diehard fans who doesn't go anymore, who pulled the plug on it over there. I was there and I witnessed the conversation, and all he was saying is, "This is East London. This is not the Olympics. The way that you are treating people in this stadium, there will be uproar." Straight away after that game, he got a letter and he got banned. He got banned for giving them the heads up with what's wrong over there, and that goes back to the stewarding. The stewarding, it was, and it is still like concentration camps. Sometimes they walk about, they hide. They block views.
I'll tell you what I didn't realise is there's 5 independent companies do that stewarding, not one, 5. So they wouldn't know their head from their arms, would they? With 5 of them, 5 doing that job. Yeah. You know, you need that need. I've not got. I'll be honest with you. I haven't got too much problems with the stewarding. I think stewarding, and you know, I ignore them, and I don't think they're much worse or much better than anywhere else. Wembley was awful, you know, when I went there, and I don't think that the other day was that good. But
Andrew, did one of them get confrontational with you when you said nothing when you was leaving the ground?
Yeah, we wanted to take my flyers off me, but I wasn't having none of it. And the same again, you're getting, you know, and it topped up. My son had this row with the same steward 2 weeks before. You know, they're quite leery, but I think that when you've got a team of 5 different independent companies, who's looking after what there? You know what I mean? You know, I think there's 1,000 stewards. It's incredible.
Yeah, it really is. Another question for you. This is a question comes in related to the team, I suppose. So our current predicament in the league isn't great. We're fighting relegation, etc. The question they asked was, would this March have a negative effect on the players and could it impact their performance on the pitch?
Mickey?
I don't really think so. I think what happens outside the ground and what happens inside the ground are 2 different things. Our point is our protest. Our point, and all the groups must agree to all come under one umbrella. It's the protest against the board. It's not against the players. When we're in there, we'll give 100% behind them players, just like them players try and give to the community. You know, our captain Mark Noble, when he walked out the other week with Isla, it touched a lot of people. So he was giving something back. So we'd never disrupt that. That's our team. That's some pest. Got to knock him off. We'll never, ever do anything against our team. Never. That's why we're one of the best fan bases in the world, let alone the country. We support our team. We don't support our board.
And I tell you what, though, Mick and Andy and Stell, after the comments that were made today on TalkSport, and Mick, I know this hits home.
I got wiped, didn't
I? But when the comments come in saying about we want unity and don't go against the team, we are united, as we are all aware, and we are for the team, and we're for the coaches, and we're for the manager. and we're for West Ham, but when it comes to people telling us what to do after breaking all these promises, it's tough to take. It's another slap in the face, and that's the biggest thing I've got. That's the biggest concern I've got is they actually think some of this
away game.
Yeah.
What you're going to get on away games is you're going to get the diehards. You're going to get the hardcore West Ham supporter. You're not going to get your popcorn eaters. You're going to get your hardcore. So you're going to hear it more from the heart. Okay, without a doubt, you're going to hear it more from the heart. And if you just watch the transfer window go through like it has done, you're going to be disillusioned.
Yeah.
With that about not supporting the team. Well, if you go back 2 weeks, we fully supported them at Wigan. I think I left on 65 minutes, so that was probably my well, I've had enough. But I think they'd never give us a chance to support them at Brighton, because for that man to say today he was here and sacked the ball before the kick-off, well, we was 1-0 down within 3 minutes, so I wasn't even in the grounds. So, that's ludicrous. I think.
And Andy, you referenced Wigan there, and I was there, and I stayed to the end, and I left with my nephew, and I walked round to the main gate, and the accusations that were made for them board were wrong because I was there.
Yeah.
I was there.
Yeah, so
So I physically know what they were saying, and it was tough for me to listen to because it was like, my God, they really are liars. Like, they are blatant liars.
Yeah,
but it was the same at Brighton as well. I mean, the sack the ball didn't start until we went 1-0 down.
1-0 down, and then it was it came in spurts, didn't it? It came in. Yeah. Then we got behind the team. Then we equalised. We got behind the team, and then we went a goal down. And I think everyone thought, "Oh well, here we go." And I wasn't there for the third. I left at 2-1 because I thought I could see what was coming. And I just think for them to go on, it always looks to me as if they're paying people, like, "Oh, do us a favour, get on there and say you've got to support unity and this." We don't need to be told to support our team. We support
Andy,
our team.
Do you think their statement they made today, or through Jim White today, do you think they're trying to turn this around and start blaming the fans? The fans.
Yeah, I think that. I tell you what, I think we have to be careful of, that we don't get seen to be the scapegoat. We went down. Guys, yeah. And, I get that maybe there's a few youngsters in there, or there's a few players that ain't used to, it's not what they notice, and they might be a bit confused. But I think overall, I don't think I've even heard sack the ball. Well, if I have, I really heard a lot at home games. I can't remember us singing sack the ball at home games fully because I can't remember. I physically can't remember it. You might turn and say, "Yeah, didn't we do it against?" Well, can you remember singing sack the ball like in unity against the ball at home?
I think there've been a few boos, but that's more maybe because of the frustration.
What would that be,
the way we played earlier in the season.
In the last few weeks, have you heard sack the ball at home?
Not at home, no.
I don't think so. No. Saying that, though, you can't hear a lot where I am anyway. I can't see a lot, I can't hear a lot. That could be saying anything.
Still,
did you think of us when we went to Wigan?
Yeah, I think this is definitely picked up since Wigan, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The comments after the game is just final nail in the coffin, I suppose you could say. For me.
We touched on this question already, but we'll ask it again in its entirety. We all feel the board have sold us a dream. It's slowly turned into a nightmare. The promise of better players, Champions League football couldn't be any further away now than it ever was. I asked earlier about what you guys want out of the mark, but what do we realistically think the board will offer?
Personally,
or will they offer anything at all?
Yeah.
Personally,
go on, Ed.
I think that if we play our cards right, I think we get a lot more from the board than we think if we push them. I think if we're positive, keep it sort of keep the momentum growing, I think there's a lot there for us to grasp and get if we do it correctly. I think that we'll put it this way: we can't get no worse, can we? We can't. Who can they sign worse than the Preston centre forward? So we can't really sign much worse, can they? So, we're not going to lose anything. But I do think if we do it correctly, and I think as long as we've got in our mind what we want, you know what I mean? Like, we ain't sort of going there on 60 different points. I think if we go there with a positive plan, I think we'll get a lot more than you think. That's my personal opinion.
Yeah. on that question then, if the board delivered everything we asked for, do you think the reputations are damaged forever?
Theirs.
Yeah.
Theirs. Wow.
Even if they agreed to everything that we asked for.
I'll tell you what I think. For me, I think they've got to come out. They've got to tell us they made mistakes. They've got to tell us that they're wrong. They've got to apologise to us. And if they want to push forward, they can't put the same people to push us forward with the move. I think it has to be a complete new team pushing us in the new direction, not the same people. Otherwise, if they failed on that, what's to say they're not going to fail on the next X amount of points?
Yeah.
Will they give us back our heritage? Will they give us back the things they've already taken away from us? You know, like where is all that? Where's our history gone? Will they own up? Will they own up? Will they own up to selling it?
Yeah.
Will they change the badge? Will they bring the badge back? Will they put a new statue over at the Olympic Stadium? Will they let people sell scarves in and around the ground, as well as program sellers, to bring an atmosphere back into the bowl, as they say? Everyone calls it the bowl because you can't call it home. These are the points that I'm concerned about. They can sit there and keep cashing in their money all day long. They can tell us anything they want because they've kept you know, this transfer, they've done £23 million in their pocket already. You know, they've sold 2 strikers that could get us out of trouble. That could keep us in the Premier League. Other teams coming up, they spent more money than us. What's going on?
On top of that, though, they're taking quite a large percentage from the traders outside the ground.
Yeah, definitely.
And that's not any way to. That's a way to run business for greedy people, and not to help other businesses grow.
But what do you both think then would be a good solution for us? You know, would you trust them, whatever they told us, if we had to sit around the table with them? I
think, personally, if something good came out of this March and they did start to talk and listen, then they've got to be given a timescale. It ain't just about them saying, "Yeah, all right, lads, we'll get the crest back, we'll get the badge back how it was, and we'll do a few little things just to appease you." You know, it's a proper commitment that they've got to make, and there's got to be a time scale on it as well.
Yeah,
you know that the stadium itself, making it more like a football stadium. Now that's the biggest investment that they need to make, and that means they've got to dip their hands deep in their pockets. And personally, I don't think they'll do it. I think what they'll do is what they've been doing since they've taken us over. They'll be scrimping and scraping, finding cheap ways to do things to try and make us feel just a little bit happier than we were yesterday.
But you know what I think they've gotten out. You know where I think they're out is with the stadium, is they don't own it. We're only the tenants, and I think that saves them. In you know what I mean? Well, we can't change the seats. We don't own it, or we can't do the development we want to. You know what I mean? They've got a little. Well, before you agreed that £2.5 million rent, you could see it wasn't a fit for purpose stadium.
Yeah.
So why did you move us there? You know, we didn't move there because we wanted to.
Unless, of course,
they made that decision.
Unless, of course, they buy it.
Yeah,
and to be well fair, in their interest to buy it.
And if you look at another thing, them 3 people made the biggest decision in West Ham's history that changes us forever. That goes down, and they've made that historical change, and they should never have made it on a gamble whether it would work or wouldn't work. And that for me is the crime. You know, that's my opinion. I think that the crime's been made. They've made that decision for us, and I think that's what probably hurts me.
Yeah. I think the other things that I think if they do make commit to change, they've got to commit to buying decent players. I mean, not saying that we haven't got decent players there already. We've got some good players, but we need a squad. Like every Premiership team does. We can't rely on 3 or 4 players, and if they get injured, then we're done for. As has happened this season. They need to invest proper money. Again, it's all, and I don't mind them buying a prospect from a lower league if that prospect is is going to work, and it doesn't always work. No. But you've got to look at how I don't even want to say the other team, but that North London team and how they've been doing their business.
Built it up over the years.
Yeah, and because they weren't far away from us a few years back. And look at them now. Look at them now. No, right. You know, and if they want to adopt that policy of bringing youth forward, buying prospects, that's all well and good. But you've then got to buy a couple of really decent players that are going to help that team click. And I think that's our problem. You know,
when you think of it, you know, you had a world-class player in Payet, you know, and whatever went wrong, you know, he was a magician, and we never replaced him. Lanzini and him together, you know, were a dream team, and we've never replaced him, have we? You know, we had Snodgrass and whatever, but we've not replaced that man. And you need to replace people with talent. You know, look at the big clubs; they don't sell a player and get a worse player in. Well, Arsenal might, but you know, the others don't. They pretty much they try and better or get something that's very similar, and we haven't. In my opinion, we haven't got no one to that Payet that, you know, like Di Canio that gives you that. Yeah. You know, Lanzini is. I must admit, Lanzini gives you that. Go on, give it to Lanzini, and I think that's probably where we've been let down. We didn't replace, you know, Payet.
What was they going to get out the last year at Upton Park? They were going to get revenue, continuous revenue. They were going to get support, continuous support. It was like looking at a glossy magazine. As soon as that year went over, that squad that we should have built on, it just dispersed, and all of a sudden we went over there. Within 2 years, we got a side that's no better than 6 of the teams in the championship. That's the truth. And
that was, you're absolutely right, Mick. And that was the beginning of the downfall, because that last season at the Bow Lane, we'll never forget. We'll never forget. And all they had to do, you know, the irony is, if they bought the players that they brought in the summer transfer, like, you know, Hart and Artovich, etc., if they bought them a year before,
put them onto them,
you know, the first season in the new stadium, we would have been flying. We would have been absolutely flying. But they did it. You know, they did this.
It's like they've been nicking a bit back all the time. All the time they're nicking a little bit back, and this window has just set it for everyone. And the Wigan game set it for everyone as well. Yeah. We are a team, and it's horrible to say, but we are a team in trouble. And the only thing they've got left now, the only thing we've got left now as a team, is our support.
The thing is, I think, you know, with the signing of the Preston kid, I don't even know his name. I prefer to have bought nobody. I prefer to have bought nobody and said, look, we're buying nobody. We're gonna, you know, get on with what we've got. I just think that we all think we've got someone coming in. He might be in the next Vardy, but he might be the next Steve Jones.
Yeah.
You know,
communication, Andy. You know, that's what it comes down to. Just communication, simple communication. That's all we ask for.
Listen, if they'd have signed that geezer and a world-class player up top, you can understand it, but you can't sign a geezer on a win that you hope he's going to be all right.
Yeah.
You know, we haven't got our last 4 games. I think are horrendous, if I'm right. You know, Man City and teams like, you don't want to be playing that. We've got to get our points in the next 9 games before we play them last 4 games, because I think we've got an awful running.
Yeah. No. This is all great stuff, guys. Again, we've got a few more questions, and then we'll round it up at the end. But I'll get this one still. Is that all right? Yeah.
Yeah, go for it, mate. Yeah.
So one of the questions that came to us was about the West Ham badge. Talking about the fortress of the old West Ham badge was introduced in the early 60s. Before the badge, it was not much different to how it is really now, apart from the word London, which we all agree is marketing. Do you think that the new badge actually does go back to our traditional roots or not? What's your thoughts on the badge?
To be honest, you know, when we first had this badge, I sort of like was against it, and in my era, I only remember the castle, you know, because my sort of era is probably 74, 75, even I was watching West Ham in 68, 69. So I've got no problem with the 2 crossed hammers. But what I do think is the London has to come off. And the way they branded us, it's like we're West Ham London 2016, and everything after doesn't matter. You know, I mean, so everything before doesn't matter. So I just feel that they branded us for sponsorship, companies abroad, marketing, but they forgot about us, the fans, that have to be ridiculed by teams going, you don't know where you are, you're not London. And we're not London, we're West Ham United, pride of East London.
Yeah.
Supporters went out. Supporters were given a survey to go out at the end of 2016. and asked the fans what they felt about it. They got told them what they felt about it. They went back in. Those guys who went out with the surveys resigned. It was a waste of time. It was an absolute. They didn't listen to them. They knew exactly what they were going to do. It was just an advertising ploy. It was just. I mean, I've heard the stories. Just a waste of time going out there. Just a waste of time.
We just want our history to be recognised.
Yeah, I think that maybe if we'd have moved over with our hammers and castle and brought a bit of history with us, we wouldn't have been so sort of like. I remember walking over the stadium and looking and thinking, crikey, West Ham London, you know what I mean? Where's our? I think they integrated us. I don't think they sort of got the integration from old to new correctly. I don't think they integrated us correctly. I think we were just all of a sudden, bang, we were there, and we had no sort of pubs, nothing. Nothing recognisable that we had. The big shopping centre that didn't really want us. £5, £6, £7 a pint. And I just think it was a culture shock. I think the whole lot was a whole brand new culture. Great for a concert, great for a one-off cup final, and then we started living it every week. And I just felt we just don't feel part of it.
Yeah.
I've got another question for you guys. If the board sold up, there's a chance that we could inherit even worse owners. We talked. We mentioned them a bit earlier. What would you guys feel if Red Bull took over, and all of a sudden the least of our worries would be London on the badge?
Oh no, we West Ham Red Bull.
We'd be West Ham Red Bull, and the claret and blue won't be anymore.
We red and blue.
God.
Well, if I look, me personally. If I saw Red Bull on our shirt, if I see Red Bull across the front of our shirt without crossed hammers, without no rubbish underneath it, or a badge with the castle with the 2 hammers, I would feel that Red Bull will give us more than them 3. That's all I feel. I just feel that Red Bull's got something more about it than them 3.
Okay.
Andy, any comments on that?
I couldn't support West Ham Red Bull. You know what I mean? I could support West Ham United, sponsored by Red Bull, but I couldn't watch West Ham Red Bull because it's no different to having them West Ham United London. We're moaning. We have to have West Ham Red Bull. I think we have to be careful with what we wish for. But at the moment, we've got people that we say lie. They seem to think that they're not lying, that they've delivered, and I think I don't know. You are right. We could end up with something. We could end up with the Icelandics that went bankrupt. So, how unlucky were we? I get you.
Change the word from lies. Let's use the word genuine then. Are they being genuine with the fan base? If they don't think they're lying, are they being genuine with us? Because I don't think they're being genuine.
Yeah.
Again,
I think
genuine.
Have we lost Andy?
Yeah, I think we've lost Andy. We're trying to get him back while we're there, Mick. So we will.
If they don't believe they're lying,
then
at the end of the day, there's got to be something else. They're not being genuine. There's an agenda somewhere. There's an agenda somewhere. I'm sure there is. I mean, if you look at these posts that come in every day that people want to put up, I see it every day, and no one believes anything they say, and they believe there's an agenda somewhere.
Yeah. Absolutely.
There's something going on, and no one can put their finger on it. It's no good trying to meet people and ask them to put marches off, or it's no good saying what can we do to get out of trouble. You're in trouble. You've dug your hole, or as my mum used to say, you've made your bed.
Yeah.
We're all grown men now, aren't we? We wouldn't tell our children some of the things that these people try and tell us.
No.
You got to bring your children up properly. They're not bringing anything up properly.
Yeah.
It's deep. It's deep. It's very deep. I was talking to Bill earlier on today. Only 8 o'clock as it happened, but everything they do is spiteful. Everything they do is unhonest. So, if anybody spoke like them or told the stories, I'd have to show them the door. I wouldn't let them sit in my house.
Yeah.
I wouldn't let them in my house. I just wouldn't have it, because at the end of the day, you've got to listen to a load of rubbish.
Yeah.
It's all rubbish. Everything's rubbish. Everyone's resentful now. You can't stop this. This is like a big wave that's going to hit them.
Yeah. And I think we all know that, Mick, and then we can all see that from the gathering. And I suppose this leads us on to probably the last question. And I suppose, well, it's a question that's come in from one of the fans on our page. The question they're asking is, what is the money for? The money that the Real Action fans are looking for, and how will there be accountability so people can see potentially where the funds are going?
Okay, Andy must have knew this was coming. He jumped out. Okay, all right. From our side, there's going to be merchandise for this march. There's Andrew's looking at putting a funeral on for the bowling, so we're going to have a hearse. We're going to bring in the ex stewards from the bowling. Anything that's left over from the initial fund out of the Real West Ham Fans Action Group is going to Isla. That's why we've left it open. My last look, I think it was 119%, nearly 125 grand, with £2,000 to be donated for a pinball machine that's in auction at the moment.
Yeah.
So if we need to go again against these people, we've still got funds in the kitty. We've got accountants, we've got secretaries, we've got lawyers. Everything is accountable. Every penny is accountable. No one's going on holiday with it, that's for sure. No one's having a retirement fund, and all our members in our group they're all happy to keep it running, because raising money for Isla, that over the top of the 20. But we got merchandise, and you're talking about 10,000-15,000 people. Right now, you got your t-shirts, hats. People are asking about banners and scarves. We can't get banners and scarves for people. We don't know where they're coming from. If they want to do that, they bring their own banners and scarves. They're representing their own groups. Yeah. There's 49, 50 groups out there now. We can't do that. It's down to each group. But again, if we have to go again, we go again. Anytime people want to see anything, they want to see accounts or whatever, I'm more than willing to see it.
Yeah.
I'm as honest as the day's long, and everyone knows that everything is accountable. There's no holiday coming out of it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's no holiday. We ask people to give us help instead of me and Andy or other people in our group trying to do this on our own. We've asked fans to help us achieve what we want as a group. It doesn't come cheap. It's not. We got. I know it sounds ridiculous, but we got wreaths and flowers. We got the stewarding. We got the cars. We got the hearse. We're going to make it a special day. That when we actually go at them, it makes a big impact.
Yeah.
It's not going to be a rowdy bunch of people walking up the street. We're trying to turn Green Street into what it was like before we left. We're going to put stalls there. People bringing in their vans and burger vans, and we're trying to do something quite special as it happens.
Yeah.
Does that answer your question?
It does, mate. And I suppose it's not even a question. It's I suppose a message. If you've got a last message, Mick, to the fans who are watching our channel.
My last message is, and I do this 24/7. My last message to everyone is out there. It's exceptional how everyone's pulled together and become a family. Instead of having different groups bickering amongst each other, we've all got the same goal. We all feel the same pain. I believe, looking at my group, there's 15,000 people that want them out of that stadium. I suppose in your own groups, you might feel you've got to feel the same. Otherwise, you wouldn't want to put the umbrella. You wouldn't want to come under the umbrella. I'd just like to thank everyone, and remember, there's a little girl out there that we're all trying to help. That's a major thing to us. Do you know what I mean? It's a really big thing, and the club could have done a lot more to help out Isla. I mean, you know, there's enough players over there that earn good money, and there's people who are donating to this charity that are normal working class people. You know, some of them haven't got anything. I can see things coming in to me that give their last fiver, and I believe them. I know they've given their last fiver.
Yeah.
You know, my message to everyone is thank you very much. We appreciate your support, and we hope to see you there on the day to make yourself accountable for this move in West Ham history. This is a move in West Ham history, believe me.
Yeah.
You know, it shocked me how quick it moved.
Mick, can you tell the audience what time it will start on the 10th of March?
Can I what?
Can you tell the audience what time it will start? The march.
Yeah,
itself?
yeah, the march. Yeah. The march is going to be kicked. Is going to be 11. Or we're going to meet at 11:30, and then we plan
at the bowling.
Yeah, I think that's it's on the agenda. The bowling, yeah, and we want a funeral there. That's what we want to do. Basically, we're gonna have a funeral there. We're gonna gather there and say goodbye and take the coffin and the wreaths and the hearse, and we got the London cabbies coming in to move the disabled people about, those who can't walk and do the walk, and then we descend on the Olympic Stadium. Obviously, there's got to be a dispersal point, like Andy says. Every march has a dispersal point. So we're hoping we can get it on the green. You know, the green at the stadium. You know, on the left-hand side where there's that little ride is, or silly red ride.
Yep.
That's.
Well, listen, a point quickly you touched on there, and I just want to reiterate it, is we are obviously helping out as much as we can as West Ham fans for young Isla. We've currently got an auction on our social media sites. We've already raised a cut. We're close to over $1,000 now. We're donating to Isla, so please dig deep as West Ham fans and help this little girl get across to America to get the treatment she needs. We wouldn't wish it upon anyone else, so let's just support as much as we can. When it comes to the Real Action West Ham Fans Action Group, make sure you follow them on Facebook and Twitter. I know if you ask them any questions, they're quite good at responding. They are very busy men. We know they're arranging their march on March the 10th. But Mick, I know Andy's just gone off, but listen, mate, I really want to extend the thanks for coming on to the show and speaking to the fans. I know we've been talking over the past couple of days, but we know you're busy men, and both myself and Stel and probably all the West Ham fans appreciate you coming on.
I appreciate being here. It's been great talking to you chaps and getting an insight from your side. You know, I don't really hear a lot. We're all gathering on Saturday. All the groups are gathering on Saturday for a meeting at 12:30. You know that, don't you?
Yeah.
All you guys know that.
Yeah.
So we'll get a bit more of a feel for each other, and hopefully we have a good meet on Saturday, and hopefully go and get 3 points against Watford on Saturday as well.
Yeah, here's hoping. But listen, Mick, like I said, thank you very much. Andy, there's a picture of him on the screen. He's disappeared. You'll be able to hear him. So if you're watching this, make sure you put it through the car. Listen to the volume. You'll be able to hear Andy. But on behalf of Irons United, thanks very much, guys. Real West Ham Fans Action Group. He's been Stel, he's been Mick, in the far corner's been Andy, and we are Irons United. Come on, you Irons.
Yeah, sweet as.